Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and of course the globe. Welcome to Real Talk Corner. Hadassa, how are you?
Hi, I am fine, thank you. How are you, Esther?
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and those of you around the globe. This is Real Talk Corner, where conversation sparks change and every voice matter. And I'm your host, Dr. Esther Cruickshank. How are you all doing this evening? My co-host is not yet with me, and I'm missing her already, but I guess she's going to be on shortly. So on this beautiful Friday, oh my God, it is Friday, the end of the week, the third day in the month of October in the year 2025. Well, I'm hearing a lot of people saying, Christmas is around the corner. I guess for those who love Christmas so much and looks forward to that. But I'm not a Christmas lover. I just enjoy every day as I live. I thank God for the breath that is in my lungs. So every day that I live, I enjoy and I look forward to it. Yeah? But I'm mindful that time is short, life is precious, and anything is possible, right? So keep the faith, be strong, know that all things work together for good to those of us who love God and are called according to his purpose. I'm thankful to God for who I am. I'm thankful that I understand my purpose. I am thankful that I was created in his image, and in this time and season I'm alive and well. I'm still in my right mind. I ain't gone mental yet, you understand, despite all the challenges, despite all the stumbling blocks and hindrances. And I want you all to be that way for yourself. Get to know yourself first before you try to know anybody else or try to get in anybody else's business. Get into the business of knowing yourself, understanding yourself. Understand what you like and you don't like, your do's and your don'ts, so that when people come around you, you're not afraid or ashamed to tell them exactly who you are. And you don't have to accept anything that you don't like. You don't have to. But of course, in life, we compromise. You understand, to build relationships and that kind of stuff, it is so important that we get to know other people afterwards. But first, if you don't know you, you wouldn't be able to appreciate other people. So please get to know yourself. So on this beautiful Friday, I wanted to start with a very touchy topic. It's a topic that not only in Trinidad or the Caribbean, all over the globe, this topic that, especially in the Caribbean, that a lot of us are afraid to deal with, the topic of nigger and coolie. Yeah. And it sprang last night, at last night's show. There was someone who put a comment and they were talking about race, and they said there is only one race, which is the human race. And I would have said that before, but sometimes in communicating, you would, say the African race and the Indian race and the Chinese race. But tonight I wanted to say, yes, thanks for that correction for that program, but there is one race. God created one race, which is the human race. And then, of course, you have the African community, you have the Indian community, you have the Chinese community, you have what do you call them, the Syrian community, you have the Spanish community, and so on and so on. And in Trinidad, we have a mixture. But it is one race, the human race. And this is why there shouldn't be all this pulling and tugging. I am seeing my co-host there now, and I'm always anxious to have her on so we can have a conversation. So welcome to my beautiful, bubbly co-host, Hadassa Charles McLeod. How are you doing, girlfriend?
Honestly, I'm exhausted, but happy Friday to everybody. I hope everybody had a great week. It's good to be back on another episode of Real Talk Corner. Could you guys hear me? Because for some reason
Yes,
I'm
we are
not hearing
hearing you
anything.
loud and clear. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, and I'm always looking forward to good conversation, intriguing conversation. I don't know if I could jump in here about what you were speaking about, race and stuff like that. But while I agree with the comment, um, I always feel like we get these comments, especially when we're talking about things that pertain to um, people of African descent, that God in His wisdom made, of course, one race, the human race. That God in His wisdom made, of course, one race, the human race. There are certain groups that always experience more challenges and things like that. And I always find there's a lot of effort to silence people who try to talk about the experiences of Black people in the world. That's just my comment to start.
And I totally agree with you. And there was a clip that we played yesterday that was Minister Farrakhan. Is Farrakhan Minister?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Um,
And it was pertaining to the fact that some people find we talk about our unfortunate circumstance, and that was how many years ago, and we shouldn't be talking about it yet. We need to move on. And while that is true, how could we move on if they have not yet accepted the fact that we were treated badly? But not only us, there are other, and I went into the dictionary today because I say, you see this nigger coolie thing, we need to get it out in the open once and for all. This is Real Talk Corner, and we love to be real. Now, I know for a fact, and there, I asked a lot of people that today, and it was one thing. As a child growing up in an African community, African home, you always heard the word coolie. Be careful with them, how they would operate. They'll take your knowledge, they'll take this, and then they'll dump you. And in the Indian community and Indian homes, because I have Indian friends, and they would tell me, yes, you heard about the African, they call them niggers, stay far from them. They used to refer to us as monkey. We came from monkey, we're not human. We didn't come from human beings, and all this foolishness. It has been and still is something that you hear people talk about. And I decided before I allow my co-host to talk what she wanted to talk about from last night, I would pull up what is the meaning of these two words. Now, the word nigger came from what they said is a member of a class or group of people who are systematically subjected to discrimination and unfair treatment. And it is used as an insulting and contemptuous term for a member or a person of any dark skin race. All right? So therefore, I remember years ago, I was dating a guy who his father was an Indian, but very dark. If you didn't look good, you would think he is an African. And they used to call them Madras Coolie. I don't know why, but these are things that has been around, and people, it is the elephant that is in the atmosphere, is around in different homes, but we refuse to talk about it. You know why? We like the foolishness. There is nothing, so it describes what it is when you talk about a nigger, a member or a class or group of people who are systematically subjected to discrimination and unfair treatment. So an Indian person can be called a nigger too, because here what? If you are subjected to discrimination and unfair treatment, the word that they would use is nigger. So calling me a nigger means that I am subjected to discrimination and unfair treatment. All right? And then you have someone of any dark skin race is a term that is used. So listen, we need to stop, operating and saying the things that we are saying to one another. We need to stop it. And then I looked up the word coolie. And coolie had a little more, let me see, I hope I didn't, a little more information, because they said coolie is a derogatory term used for low-wage laborers, typically those of Indian or Chinese descent. The word coolie was first used in the 16th century by European traders across Asia. In the 18th century in the 18th century, the term more commonly referred to migrant Indian indentured laborers. In the 19th century, During the British colonial era, the term was adopted for the transportation and employment of Asian laborers via employment contracts on sugar plantations formerly worked by enslaved Africans. The word has had a variety of negative connotations in modern day English. It is usually regarded as offensive. In the 21st century, coolie is generally considered a racial slur for Asians in the Oceania, Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Americas, particularly in the Caribbean. The word originated in the 17th century Indian subcontinent and meant day laborer. Starting in the 20th century, the word was used in British Raj, India to refer to potters at railway stations. The term differs from the word Dogla, which refers to people of mixed African and Indian ancestry. Coolie is instead used to refer to people of fully blooded Indian descent whose ancestors migrated to the British former colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean. This is particularly so in South Africa, Eastern African countries, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, Jamaica, other parts of the Caribbean. In the modern Indian popular culture, coolies have often been portrayed as working class heroes or anti-heroes. So when you call somebody, it is used now as an offensive language or word. And I think the time has come for us to be empowered, to be informed. An Indian person is not a coolie. An African person is not a nigger. Now, I read somewhere else where they said, within the African community, if one another call another African nigger, it's okay. But once it is called by a different community or ethnicity, they are considered offensive language. So it is time that we understand, listen, we are one human race. None of us came from no monkey because God created all of us. And we need to stop it. But the thing is, it goes on in our home. As a child growing up, you would have heard the word. I personally know, I heard of the coolie, and I know you talk about nigger as well. And I've heard Indians who would call us nigger, who actually they cursing or move your nigger self. And they refer, oh, you're smelling like a nigger. What is the smell of a nigger? Look what it says. So we need to be empowered with truth. We need to understand what this is. When people get vexed, you call an Indian person a coolie. And when you get vexed, you call an African person a nigger. What do they call the Chinese and the Syrians and the Spanish? What they call them? So it's an African-Indian thing in the Caribbean where we are insulting one another. And it is time that we stop that foolishness. If we say we are educated and we have been empowered, we are emancipated, why we still behave like that? Call people by their name, or call, according to your ethnicity, that Indian person or that African person. They have a thing they like to say, black. Listen, all of us in the Caribbean is considered black, whether you're of Indian descent, African descent. It's only in America they differentiate by saying the black people the African people is black and the whitey looking people is Caucasian or whatever. But it's time we stop this. We have gone the 21st century, going past the 20th century, going and in the 21st century, and we need to start behaving like we have some sense, behaving like we are cultured a little bit, because we all familiarize ourselves with different people, different class of people. We eat together, we party together, we fellowship together, we go to pray together. So why do we have this foolish way of describing other persons who are of different I don't want to use the word race again, because it's one race, different ethnicity. We need to stop that. Yeah, we really need to stop that. And like Hadassa said, my co-host said, anytime we are talking about the African with problems in our country or a situation that is escalated, then we get people talking about it's not It's not the African race or the Indian race. It's the human race. People say all kind of stuff, and when you want to talk, they say a lot. But I want to say something as well, because last night we started talking about the breakfast shed, and that is where a lot of what is said came surface, and I wanted to deal with that. African people in this country who are in authority, who are in high places, who can help Africans, they don't. Enough respect to deceased Patrick Manning and to all the African people who have been in politics and in the position to help other Africans. They really don't. They really don't. They would help the Indian community, because some people would say when they help their own, they get stabbed in their back. And African people have a way that they always operate very ungrateful, for most of them. Not all, a lot of them, especially the ones who are not properly educated, who did not probably finish schooling and all of that. And then there are those who are educated, but still, for whatever the reason, they like to stab their own people in their back. This is why in my emancipation conversation, and I talked about it, is as though we hate the color of our skin. When we black, we hate our black people. Enough respect to all the African people who are in politics and who are in government right now, but I'm saying to every one of you, with due respect, you all need to take a different look and deal with the African people in this country with a different mindset. Help those who doesn't have a mindset to work, and they are encouraged to be lazy. And who encouraged the African people to be lazy more than the PNM? Because of what they would have said to them, what they would have shared with them, how they treat with them. No, we have to get up and work. We cannot sit on our butt and feel everything would fall from heaven to us. No, people will continue to use you, all right, and have no respect for you. And that is what happens with the African community. And we need to change that. We need to come together. We need to support one another. And those of you who are in government and could help, please do not neglect this color of your skin people, your own people. Don't neglect them. They are difficult. We know, I know it is difficult to deal with some of our African people. They are the ones who try to pull us down. You're trying to help them and they're trying to pull you down. But let us put God in front and let us walk behind and teach them how to be grateful. Teach them to change their mindset, because their mindset is down and doom, and we need to change that. I don't know if it will make any sense saying what I said, but I hope it does.
Indeed. Well said. Just for me to backtrack just a little bit for us to round off this conversation, I think it's time for us to throw off this yoke around our neck, calling each other nigger and coolie, because I find that it's interesting that in both cases that the terms originated from Europeans who wanted to subjugate us, and there are negative connotations associated with both terms, and we always seem to relish in pulling each other down using those same terms. It's always very fascinating to me. Um, and I know Esther made reference to the fact that Black Americans specifically, they like to call each other nigger. They say it's not the hard ER, it's NIGGA, and somehow that is okay. And I could never wrap my head around it. They saying that they have reclaimed a slur, and I'm like, why is it that you want to do that? There's no other ethnic group that is going around and embracing the slurs that has been put upon them by other people who have tried to make them feel less than or subjugate them. So I feel that that is a bunch of foolishness. It is why I don't listen to any music that has those terms in it or has any derogatory terms about any ethnic group. Right? So it's time for us to cast that off, and it's time for us to get wisdom, because you really cannot expect people to respect you if you're not respecting yourself. That's one thing. The other thing that I wanted to say is that in respect to the point that I made about other people saying that, there's only one race and whatnot. And I said that because I feel like they like to trivialize the experiences of groups. I don't even know where this term minority came from. That in itself is an insult. But when the same people who would say there's only one race and whatnot, and why you have to make everything about race, and why are you always talking about these things, if you ask these same persons to volunteer to live a day, a week, or a month as an African person, they will not choose it, because they are very much aware that we are treated differently, we are othered, we are discriminated against. So that is how you're supposed to treat with these people, because from the moment that you confront their hypocrisies, you would realize that they are very aware of the truth, that they prefer to stay in their perched stations of privilege or whatnot, being it could be class, or it could be lighter skin or whatnot. They will never choose to be an African person. So let's just get that out of the way. And finally, I want to talk about, making reference to what we were talking about breakfast shed yesterday, and the fact that we have never had leaders of African descent who has truly looked out for um, Afro Trinbagonians, right? And what has happened to us over the years is that we like when people talk nice to us, right? We like when people, they talk nice and they're eloquent and they statesman like. People used to say that Patrick Manning was sophisticated and he was charismatic, right? But from the moment you speak the
It's true, me.
truth, from the moment you speak the truth, they don't like you. They can't take it, right? And we over the years have preferred people talk nice to us and stab us in the back, and we shun those who will be on their soapbox speaking the truth, right? Calling out the lies, calling out the hypocrisy, calling out the unfairness and the injustice, right? So it is time for us to put all those things aside. It shouldn't matter how something is said. It should matter, is it the truth or not. My mother used to tell me as a child, if a vagrant tell you that your shoelaces need to tie them, right? Because if you ignore him, you would very well fall and trip and bust your head. It does not matter who says it or how it is said. If it is the truth, if there's a kernel of truth to it, take it, apply it to your life, and see how you could become better. That's it for me there.
Exactly. And that is the truth. You understand? So I hope that, that people would rethink what we say. I think sometimes what we do, we just get on our high horse, we get vexed or whatever the situation, and we quick to jump to curse and call people words, discriminating words. You refer to people, and that shouldn't be. You can say things to person that is going to hurt their feelings without talking about nigger and coolie. You could say things that is probably going to make somebody check themselves without being offensive. But we are a society, and you see it on social media more than ever, where people just wait for something to say things probably to hurt people's feeling. I don't know. I tell people, you can say whatever you want to say to me, say about me. God has the last say on me, and I don't give two hoots about what people say about me. I keep living. Nobody is perfect. Even the ones who are saying things, they're not perfect. Our prime minister is not a perfect woman. She's a generous woman. She's a woman who has a big heart. She cares about the citizens of this country, and we are aware of that. But she's not perfect. The only perfect creature or creation that is God Himself through Jesus Christ. There is no one who is perfect on this earth. So whether you are an attorney, whether you are a member of parliament, whatever, you all are not perfect. And so I am not perfect, but I understand who I am. And nothing that anyone say will define who I am. I don't allow you You may say what you want to say, and people may listen to you, and some people may agree with you based on how I would have dealt with somebody in the past. Also understand that people do change as you get older, as you mature in your mindset, as you mature in the way that you do things and the way that you think about things and people, you change. So some people, they hold on to something from 20 years. When you were 20 years old, you may have made an error, a mistake, and they still, in your 50s, almost 60, they still see you that way. And I understand that. But you see me, I always give people the opportunity to prove themselves. If you're going into a relationship and somebody come and say, he or she, X, Y, or Z, I don't take that. I would listen to what they say. But I'll give that individual the opportunity to prove themselves. Knowing that I was told X, Y, and Z, I would never, never bring that to the forefront. But if you do just what that person would have told me, I would know, because I am coming to say, listen, this is what you are doing. I am not happy about it. You need to do something else. But I would be remembering what was told to me. But don't judge people because others would have said whatever they want to say about the individual. And I know it's easier said than done, but I try my best to judge people based on what they do at the point in time. And I want to say this as well, because a few persons have met me over the last couple of weeks, and they're talking about certain MPs in this government, and they know themselves. You all pretend, some of you pretend to be all that, good in front of our Prime Minister, because we have heard what she said. She's not going to be afraid to remove you all if you're not serving the people, if you're not doing right. And some of you, you start to show up your dirty ways already. Please stop washing all your dirty linens in the public. Be nice to people. When it's time for election, we wanted everybody to vote for us, whether they were from the PNM clan or from whichever clan, including the UNC, because there are a lot of UNC members who did not vote in the election, and there are others who came and voted, people who didn't vote for years. They came and voted, and we don't know who is who. So you MPs who think that you're higher and bigger than the people who put you there, remember, they put you there and they neglected the vote for the PNM because of how the PNM treated them. Don't treat them the same way and expect that in the next 5 years they will come and vote for us again. We all need to be careful as to how we treat with people, whether you feel they ain't worth your time or not. Let us be respectful to our citizens. Let us know that we cannot do it without them, and we put you all there. They put us there to serve them. So don't treat people with scorn, courtesy. Listen, even if you're not going to help or do anything, at least let them think. I mean, you shouldn't just let them think that you care. You should really be care and concerned about the citizens of this land. Okay? And it really make me feel a type of way that persons will send me message and tell me X, Y, and Z did this or say this or treated them in a particular way. You MPs, you know who you are. Start treating people. Don't start to go off course, because our Prime Minister said that the people is who we are there to serve. Serve the people and stop all your foolishness. Some of you all don't feel you're bigger and better than the ones who put you there. You all need to change that, because I'm saying if you continue, the people who have been serving the PNM and they give us an opportunity to be able to serve them, if we don't do it, they'll go right back to the vomit that they throw away, that they spew out on. They'll go back. Trust me, they're going to go back. So we need to do better. We need to do good. And I'm not putting water in my mouth to say, this is real talk. And if some of you vex because I say it, well, like somebody in the PNM says, suck it up. But we all need to do what is right. Anything, my dear, that we want to talk about going forward? I know there are other things that you wanted to talk about from last night. I'm not hearing you. Why am I not hearing you?
No, I was saying, we calling
right.
names or what?
I don't want to call names yet, but if it
I
continue,
just couldn't.
I would call names. Yes, I would call names, I'm not afraid. I am not afraid to be targeted. I was targeted under the PNM. I'm not afraid to be targeted. I'm a member and a lifetime member of the UNC, and I make no bone with saying that. I say it anywhere I go. I support the UNC 100%. But if any member of parliament or anybody who is in position doing foolishness, I calling them out. Don't get vexed, because you know what? You just can't get to talk to these people, because some of them already feel they reached the top. But listen, wherever you are, just know you could come right back down. Don't be fooled. This is politics. And the Basdev Pandey said it has a morality of its own. One of the things that we have to do is treat the people with respect, whether you like it or not, because the Prime Minister that is here now, she treats the people with respect. All right? I am not saying that, she may not make an error. Nobody is perfect. We all are imperfect creatures. We trust God to do the right thing. But I am saying that you all need to listen to the people who put you there. And we say when UNC win, everybody wins. It doesn't mean, like I shared before, because we say that some of them who don't want to resign from the PNM and who don't want to move out, it is a political appointment, but they want to stay there forever. No, it's not going to work like that. But when UNC put policies in place and things in place, all of us are going to benefit, whether you're PNM, UNC, whatever. Even the Venezuelans who are in here, they're benefiting. So we have to understand what it means, right? If you're not paying house tax, you're benefiting. It's not the UNC supporters alone, but of course the people who have supported the UNC over the years in opposition, you PNM who supported the PNM and still do expect to remain there and everything's supposed to be okay. No, it's not going to work. Some of them saying flat, they're not moving, but your contract will up. It's a political appointment. You have to go. There's no two ways about it. But we need to be civil. We need to be, understanding. And the MPs that are here now, who are ministers and probably senators and so on, you need to treat people with respect. Don't pass people straight if they're calling out to you. What it will take from you to say, hi, how you doing? Well, I'm busy right now, I have to go. What it will take, people just want, sometimes that's the only comfort they have as their MP or as a minister. Some of you all will talk to people when you want to. You talk to me today and tomorrow you see you pass me straight. What kind of foolishness is that? And that is what people are talking about. So you all need to change that way. Change it. And I have the names, I have the names. But I ain't calling no names now. I ain't calling that now. There's more time for that if it reached to that. I'll call the names to the Prime Minister first.
I was just going to say, I wonder if any of these reports have reached her ear.
Well, that is a woman of class, a woman of intelligence, and don't feel she doesn't know what's going on, It doesn't pass her. It really doesn't pass her, but she's a person who doesn't act, in my view, immediately. She gives you time to make changes, and you see when she speaks on the forums, the public forums, she would make certain statements. It's for them to check themselves, right? It's for them to check themselves. She don't call names either, but they know themselves. So let's see what's going to happen. But I want to encourage citizens to be strong. Please get to know who you are and get to know your worth. Too many people, not only with politics, normal citizens, normal friends and colleagues, husband and wife, children, too much craziness are going on. Get to know who you are. Don't let nobody take advantage of you, and have respect for one another. Because I feel if I respect your opinion, then you would respect mine too. Right? It doesn't mean that I agree with what you are saying, but I respect how you feel or think about certain things, and I would put my opinion there too, and it's up to you to agree or not agree. But we need to stop, thinking that everybody has to flow with my opinion. Even this show, we call it Real Talk Corner. You all the viewers may not all agree with what we are saying, but at the same time, this is from our perspective, based on our experience, based on what we are seeing and what we are hearing. So we talk, and we try to be as real can be, and factual. If you don't like it, put a comment, but put a comment with respect. You could put something there, just like the woman who spoke about the race thing. It's only one race, and it's the human race, and I understand that. Whilst we know that the only time those kind of conversation comes up is when we are talking about the African people and the sufferings and what they have to put up with. But I understand it's one race. okay, and there are many ethnicity. But what she said was correct. Okay? So I have no qualms with that. I have no problem with that. But we need to be respectful to each other. We need to be respectful. And of course, I cannot talk more than I have spoken about the Africans not supporting the Africans. And even those who are in authority to do something for the African people. We spoke about it last night, so I don't want to go into details again. Some people talk just based on one sentence we would have said or the reel that I would have done. They did not even listen to the attorney, what he would have shared. All right, they don't know the whole story from the beginning. And then we want to talk about they like free thing, and everybody like free thing. Who doesn't like free thing? But we know everything cannot be free. Or else then how the economy is going to survive, how things is going to work, right? But there are many who get it free, and that is the point we were making. The Syrians and others who have been there and they suck up everything and they work the African people as slaves, pay them next to nothing, right? And then you want to talk about the African people wants everything free. Give me a break with them foolishness. I know better. I know better. Even in the financial institution, you go to the bank, they treat us different to the other ethnicity, the other communities. We have to, it's like, gosh, I'm trying to find a word. It's like bend over, bend down, do all kind of stuff before we could get not even what it is we asking for. And that can't be right. All of us must be treated equally. Equally. Every creed and race should find an equal place. We don't have that in Trinidad for the African people. I don't care who say what. We don't find, we don't get everything the same way. If you're born with a gold spoon and you probably have a good friend who is an Indian, and I'm not saying Syrian because Syrians, they like the African people to work them. They could say what they want. That is what they do. I have experienced it. They tell you one thing and then they do something else. They never give you what you deserve. And in some cases, the Indians do it too. Some of the Indians. It is only the African people who does dog themselves to these others instead of you dog yourself for your own people. And eventually, all of us will be somewhere together. We just pull down one another. But you don't see the Indians pull. I mean, let me say this carefully, yeah? Because there are some Indians who pull down the Indian people. But you don't see the Syrians doing that. And right now we have a lot of Spaniards in this country and they're supporting each other. Just now, they would be greater than us and more supportive to their own people. They support their own people. They're opening business. And you see everybody, including some of the African and the Indians, going there and supporting their business. What is wrong with the African people? You all need to change your mindset. All this attitude, always want to sleep late and feel that's how you just get through. You have to get up early, pray, ask God for guidance, and work. Nothing comes easy. What I have didn't come easy. You have to work. Nothing that the Indian people have. In some cases, they say they're born with gold spoon, but not all of them. Ask our Prime Minister how hard they had to work. So let us come together, African people. Let us come together, change our mindset, change the laziness, support one another. That's all I have been begging and asking for you all to do. And some of us, we have already become tired. So, you know, the older folks who have tried to bring the African people together. And then you have some of us who did it with an agenda to fill their pocket and still have the small man suffering. So what do we do? What do we do? Those of us who know better, do better. That's all I can say.
Yes, my dog agrees. Um, I wanted to make the point about what you were saying about when you go to the bank, with your idea to get a loan. Anybody who is on social media would be aware of the brand Sorvete. She's based in South and she has um, a concept of artisan small batch ice cream, and she does a lot of mixins and stuff like that. The product is actually really good. I mean, even somebody with um, my own little ice cream business, I can say that her product is actually exceptional. And her business is exploding right now. But she talked about the fact that when she went to the bank, none of the banks wanted to work with her. Not one of them, not JMMB, not Scotia, not Republic, not RBC, not First Citizens. Nobody. And she said she was feeling so dejected. And her brother said, let us try one more time. And she got the loan from her credit union. That is how she got through, you know? So I feel that there is such a lack of confidence in black entrepreneurship in our country. Um, and I felt sad for her just for that small moment because she said she was ready to give up. And I can't imagine how many dreams have been dashed or how many dreams have been packed up and put aside because it is so hard to get buy in and to get confidence when you have a business that is proven. It might not necessarily be something that is already available or in Trinidad and Tobago, but it has been proven in another market, probably in the US or whatnot. And yet, still, you cannot get the banks to give you these loans. They just don't believe in us for some reason. And other people will go and they will get their loans so easily, you know. So, we need to start to talk about the injustice and the inequity when it comes to accessing finance, right? And getting capital for your businesses and stuff like that. I myself during the pandemic would have applied to Netco. This would have been in 2021, right? And they took 3 years to call me to say that I did not get through with the loan. So this is the type of hurdles that you have to endure. Not only is that you get a no, but it takes so long for you to get a no. The process is so long. They want so much information. I had to do so many things. I had to go on my space had to be evaluated and all these things. You go through all the processes only for it to be a no, for you to fall flat on your face. Right? So we need to start to talk about these inequalities so that they can be addressed. And I'm really hoping that under this administration, we will see the needle starting to move in a positive direction because people like to say that these hurdles do not exist. It's all in your mind. All you have to do is get up hard and work. And I'm not to slight anything that Esther says. That is true. You still have to get up hard. You still have to get up and you still have to work and whatnot and whatnot. But that is not all of it. A part of the sweet sauce is actually buy-in, is confidence, is getting people to back your ideas, and things like that. So I would. That's just one thing I wanted to say to contribute to what Esther was saying, talking about the experiences that people have had. And I also said I wanted to make a point to highlight businesses that are owned by Afro Begonians. So that was one. And I recently found out, call me naive, that Belgrove's Funeral Home is actually owned by Afro Begonians. So that made me feel good because I know we were talking about the show, if we could point to businesses that are owned specifically by Black people. And I made a point to start looking for them. And whenever I find them, I'm actually going to mention them on the show. Um,
I wonder if that is a good thing because now that they know it's African, they might attack them. Because to me, when I said that we need to get up and don't be lazy, listen, sometimes let me put it this way, as an African person who is doing business, they might start off good, right? And something happen along the way. You may get a loan from the bank or even the credit union, and something go wrong. And the way they will treat with that individual, Hadassa, I've been there. I can tell you, I've been on the credit union board as a credit officer, and I can tell you the pressure they would put on you compared to another ethnicity, to the Indians or whoever else. The same criteria should be across the board for everybody. Just think about it. For whatever reason you may have made an error, you didn't get the support that you got after you took the loan, and something went wrong. You missed 2 months, you would have communicated. You missed 2 months or 3 months as the case, and you go to them, and they tell you that you have to clear off the arrears. You go to get refinancing. You have to clear off the loan. Just imagine, you are in a predicament. You can't pay the 3 or 4 months that has gone by. You have no way of getting finances, okay? And they are telling you, clear off the arrears, and then they would consider refinancing. How on God's earth you're getting that? Because you don't have that support. And you know, and this might sound terrible, but it is the truth. An Indian person would go with business, same kind of business or same kind of venture, would have gone through the same situation where they can't pay 3 or 4 months, and they will give them, they would refinance the loan without telling them they have to they have to clear off the arrears. I am telling you, something is wrong. The way they treat with us, first thing they would say, they give the African person the loan, and this happened and this happened. But it's not only with the African people, and it's not all of the African people those things happen to. It happens with the Indians. It happened with others. Well, I can't even talk about Syrians because I don't think Syrians have those kind of problem anymore, or if they ever had it at all, because these communities support each other. But I am saying the African, and there might be some Indians who go through certain things, but they get the help that is needed. Whereas with the African, they'll leave it to fall on your face. And you know what? They want to come and take back if it's a vehicle, come and take things, take your house if possible, even though, because most time they're giving you a loan, they want you to mortgage something. They want you to put something for the loan. And they're so disastrous with what they do to the African people. It's not funny. That has to change. Yeah, because they may give us a loan, you know. But if something go wrong, for you to get a backup or something to help, and I'll draw a reference. There is an African person who went to get a loan. I think it was 250,000. They gave her 100,000. Tell her to start up and to do whatever, and you know, and then they would see how it's going. 100,000. When she went back, because things wasn't going, remember the woman put things in place. It worked out to be 250,000, so she would have a little money in hand and that kind of thing. They gave her 100,000. She said she had to fight to put things together, and it didn't happen, right? And I was telling her, I said, you should have leave them with the 100,000, because all you did is put yourself in more problems. They know very well that the 100,000 will not suffice for her to do what she needed to do. She would end up in trouble. And then what? You come back to take what she had put as collateral. You understand? It is wickedness. If a business, after you do all the necessary, you know, planning and evaluating, and it's 250,000, why give 100,000? It's the same thing that deceased Manning did with the breakfast shed vendors. They were supposed to get 500,000, you give them 100,000, and when things go bad, everybody want to start to chop, 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 and say all that they want to say, including the Syrians, who I believe is who really want to get this spot. I don't know, but something with the African people, boy, is like they take us for granted all the time. And I pray and trust that our Prime Minister, through this new government, is going to help make changes for, you know, the way that they treat with the African people in this country. I really pray.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about forming our own society or community and whatnot, and I feel like the more time goes on, the more I see the importance and the relevance for something like that. But it's to attract the right type of people, and to create a community that is undeniable, so that we would have stay in power, and we would be able to um, have a say in terms of the things that happen for like the business community, and things like that, specifically for young entrepreneurs who also happen to be of African descent. I feel more and more that we talk about it. I think the point is that I think we may have to do it ourselves, Esther. I think that is what is happening.
I,
Waiting for
I,
somebody to do it or to help us. We really have to do it ourselves.
Yeah, I think so. I think we have to keep talking. And you know, Minister Farrakhan said it. He said they want us to shut up. But we can't. We have to keep reminding ourselves and persons. They can't believe for a moment that we forget how we have been treated. We cannot let them forget. And for us to remember, we have to keep talking about it, because we are the ones who are feeling the pain. We are the ones who are feeling the pressure, even with respect to the CPEP and URP program. We know how a lot of ghosts and a lot of wrongs were happening under the PNM. But at this point in time, who were most of the people that was employed in
Affected,
those
yes.
two and is affected now is the African people.
Yeah,
And with it
yeah,
not being, nothing is being done, these are the people who are suffering right now. They are crying
yeah,
out, oh God, all your help, do something. Some people will tell me they regret voting for the UNC. And I say, you shouldn't regret because something better is going to come. I know it is hard, but something, our Prime Minister is going to bring something. Just wait until after the budget at least. But I understand what they're going through because they have been living day to day to day under URP and CPEP. There's no way people could have saved any money. They fix themselves, they fix the nail, they fix the hair. When in some cases, people would say, well, the money they're using to fix here and the money they're using to do this, they should save it. But what they're not understanding, the hairdressers who are Africans and the nail techs who are African were depending on them to come and spend their money. It's a ripple effect. And we have to
yes,
put all of this into consideration. So they spend their money, they buy the food, and they look nice and all of that. But remember, those small business who are African people, they're depending on them. Right now, those small businesses are suffering because there is no CPAP and URP, and these people are not working to come and do their hair and their nails and whatever. So whilst it might, we might say otherwise, these are the reality. Okay,
yeah,
it is the reality and it has a rippling effect because CPEP has closed down, URP has closed down, and other things that the African people who gravitate to that, who are probably not even so educated and they can't get other jobs, this is what they depend on. And right now we
yeah,
have a lot of problems. People are coming to me. I can't help nobody right now either. All right. So all
yeah,
I could tell them is have patience. Sometimes I take off whatever I have in my cupboard at 20, 30. What they're doing, at least it will still buy some doubles for them to eat or a piece of chicken, whatever it may be. Hadassa, it is so gross right now for these people. And I want the government to know because some of us, we are not suffering like them. They depended on CPEP and URP. Yes, we know there was ghosts. Yes, we know a lot of wrong was happening. But something has to be done because they are citizens. They are human beings. People would say all kind of negative, this and that, the other. But listen, they are depending on us
yeah.
to do something that is going to give them their daily bread. And we have
I
to
agree.
we have to do something quickly. We have to do something. I
I
don't know
agree.
how else to put it. I am not against what our government is doing because they have to flush out all this corruption. But consider these people who are basically, there are Indians among them, but the masses is African. We have to do something for them because the small
Indeed.
businesses are crumbling because they depended on these people who work in CPAP and URP to come and support their business. Okay? So
The ripple effect is
I
true.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, what you say about the ripple effect is true. Um, because you could never discount somebody's small salary, it is still money that circulates in the economy, right? And if this is removed, it would have a contracting effect. I am concerned about the silence though. The last thing I read about is that the contractors will be taking CPAP to court again. But from the government side, I have not heard anything from Barry Patterath specifically um, with respect to what is happening with CPAP. And I feel like it is important to at least talk to your constituents, talk to the community, let people know what is happening. In terms of, are you waiting for the budget to be read? You can say these things and ask people to be a little more patient, because I know that there has been a big push to 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 make certain changes where the used car dealership things is concerned. And again, people will say, but look, Indian people just get their land from Caroni workers, and look, they're going and restart bringing back older vehicles for foreign use vehicles. And the most of the people who own foreign use businesses is Indian, so it's only Indian winning. I am really concerned that this could become a narrative, I would really like to hear what the government has to say in terms of making sure that the persons who have been employed with CPAP are taken care of.
Yeah, it's a very particular situation. It is something, and I'm no way am I, casting any aspersion on our government here now. I just want us to understand the seriousness of the depression and frustration that a lot of our people on the ground is going through right now. And like you said, there is a silence, a deafening silence. And I know they are doing something. And one of our program, we talk about, putting these people into the corporation, having a department into the corporation, because I believe this is what the corporation should be doing. There are areas you're going into, a lot of grass. And yes, I could relate to the fact that when P&M shut down Petrotrin, they didn't care, and it wasn't to do any adjustment or anything of the sort. They just went ahead. They didn't care how much people lost their jobs, how much family went through depression, because a lot of people went through depression. I know there are people who commit suicide, kill themselves when Petrotrin went through. A lot of contractors had nothing. But we don't have to do the same thing that the P&M has done, and we have to understand. If we're doing the same thing that the P&M did, it means that we're not different, and all the talk
We're
and
going to be different.
encouragement we
Exactly.
have spoken of is gone down the drain, and we're going to lose the confidence of these people. Now, I am not going to go into no details of anything. We all are feeling the pressure, but there are too many people on the ground. Their children are suffering, and they are going now. They are really going into crime. All right, they're going in people's home. They're stealing. We don't want that to be happening. And when you look at it, it's our little African children. We don't want it happening. And we are here to make a difference. At least tell the people something, so they will have
Yeah,
some
say
hope. People
something.
are losing hope. They are losing hope, and we don't want that happening. And I'm pleading for my government, who is in power right now, to say something to the people. Let the people know what is happening. We know all that the P&M did to them, but we cannot do the same thing. There are people who would say, well, the P&M, I myself said it, what they're talking about, all the question Penny and them want to ask. When the P&M was in power, they didn't care about these people. They didn't come out and protest with these people. When they shut down Petrotrin, they didn't care. And many other establishments that went through the crack, they wasn't concerned about it. But we can't operate like them. We have to have a conscious understanding about what these people are going through who are on the ground. And we need to really try to give them some hope. Tell us what is happening, what you all are doing with respect to CPAP and URP and so on. Let the people know. Okay, so it wouldn't have all these negative talks and negative vibes that is around. It's really, really,
Yeah.
really negative. So let us come out, government members, MPs and ministers, talk to the people. Tell them
Yeah.
what is happening, what are the plans. We know that there have been a lot of ghosts, a lot of corruption. We know that you all are probably trying to do something different that they would benefit in a better way, all right? And not at 10 days in and at 10 days out, but let the people know something so that they will
Yeah.
have some hope. They will have something to hold on to. It's not that we even want to talk those things, but it's real talk on, and we have to be real, because then people is going to attack us, always saying this and saying that, but you all are not being real, and we are being real tonight. We want our government that is in power to let the people on the ground know what is taking place. I done with Penny and them. I mean, most people have no hope in them. But trust me, they're trying to pull themselves together, but it will take a very long time, because they never showed the people that they cared. It wasn't one term they got 2 terms. I mean, a whole decade, and they did nothing for the people. And I don't believe for a moment that we would take more than 10 years to really show the people a brighter side of life, to show them some light. I don't believe that this government is going to do that. They're going to help, and things is going to get better. But we have to ask that they say something so that people will have some hope and know that something is happening. Don't have this silence. It's deafening. It's really, really deafening. All right, so let us do what we have to do. I want you all to have a wonderful evening. It's Friday night. Those of you who going out and Lyman party, please be safe. Please go with family, friends. Make sure that you're in a group because there are still criminal activities taking place. You have a long weekend. I'm not sure if we're going to be on this Sunday. Producer, are we on this Sunday or it's going to be the fall? This Sunday we're going to be on. Okay, so we on this Sunday? No, the following Sunday, yeah. So we're going to be back on Tuesday, and I trust that you all stay safe. Trust God, pray, ask God to help you in situations where you feel like you can't help yourself. Don't go and kill yourself. Don't take poison and drink. All of that is happening. Don't commit suicide. Come on, people, be strong. Ask some good Samaritan to help you, some neighbor somewhere. Don't be ashamed. Do what you have to do, but do not take your life. Life is precious, okay? And continue to be who God has called you to be. Until next week, Tuesday, have a good night and a good weekend. Stay safe. Love you all.